Welcome back. We have two other special guests with us, Mr. V.R. Mehta from Tata Trust and Mr. Rashesh from Edelweiss. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in. My first question to Mr. Mehta. Mr. Mehta, you've been talking to us in the last 6 to 7 months. There have been a lot of issues as far as legal issues, as far as the corporate battle is concerned. Are you confident that Tata Group has put behind it, with Chandra on board, the ghosts of what had plagued them over the last 1 year?
Well, it's only little more than 3 months, and it's too short a time to judge the results. But I can say with confidence that with the convergence of the purpose, there should be no issues on account of the trust deficit that existed earlier.
Okay. Mr. Shah, let me bring you in on this perspective. From a market perspective, from an investor perspective, are you confident that there hasn't been any tarnishing as far as brand Tata is concerned? And are you confident that investors are not going through that trust deficit that we've been talking about?
Absolutely. I think if you look, I mean, when the issue broke out, there was a little bit of, concern around alignment of the promoter, Tata Sons, with the companies and all. But I think the way it was handled and very slowly and steadily, the group has reaffirmed that they stand connected with all the group companies and they are very deeply involved. And I think getting Chandra on board has restored a large part of the confidence that this group, obviously, I mean, there was a little bit of upheaval, but this group is a very long-term thinking group, will make sure that the priorities of those individual companies will not get harmed in this. And Chandra is an insider in a sense because he's been with the Tata Group for a long time, but at the same time he can think out of the box. And the job is done with TCS. I think a lot of investors have seen him at play firsthand for the last about 15-20 years. So having seen him, the confidence in his capability of bringing this not only back on track, but making sure the group is back on a growth path is currently very high.
Mr. Shah, just continuing that point, the three things that Chandra is focusing on is integration, is reducing group debt, and ensuring that every investment is linked to financial viability. They are trying to ensure giving out shareholder returns. So in this perspective, keeping these three counters in mind, what are the companies that you will keep a close watch on, especially from the listed counters, be it Tata Steel, Tata Motors? What would be the companies that you will watch for a turnaround?
See, I think first and foremost, it is very clear that Chandra will drive capital efficiency. He's been in the thick of the, in front of investors for the last so many years. He's obviously convinced them on growth, efficiency. So I think the two aspects he will look at very closely will be growth and efficiency, especially capital efficiency, because I think he is a very ROE-driven, very capital efficiency-driven person, but not compromising growth. So I think those two will be important. If you look at the clusters in the Tata Group, I think one obviously standalone is the IT services cluster, where TCS and a couple of other companies are there. And I think there the idea would be to continue to grow, continue to make sure that you are a leader in the industry as of now. I think the second cluster will be the steel cluster, which is an important one because I think steel has a lot of investments, and there is enough low-hanging fruit that by sheer efficiency, by sheer injecting a lot more efficient management approach to this, there is enough growth there. And fortunately, the steel industry is also coming around. The last 4-5 years have been very tough for the industry. I think the third will be the automotive cluster, where also there is a lot of opportunity. Tata Motors obviously can grow the market share a little bit. There is a lot more efficiency which is also available there when we talk to analysts. So I think Chandra will make sure that he is driving a lot of efficiency out of the automobile cluster also. And the fourth, according to me, will be your consumer cluster, which is your Titans and Tata Global Beverages and all. So I think these are the four clusters I would watch: steel, motors, IT and consumer.
Okay. Taking from that, Mr. Mehta, what do you think the key challenges will be? Be it from a turnaround perspective, be it the fact that we are in an economic volatile time. You have been interacting with the Tata Group. What do you think the key challenges will be?
The challenges broadly are, you see, the consolidation and optimization of allocation of resources. I think that is the biggest challenge, and I think Mr. Chandrasekhar is on top of that, but the results will obviously, we'll have to wait for that. And I think this applies to the entire portfolio business of the Tata Group across the sectors, across geographies. We have both domestic and international businesses, and I'm sure this optimization and consolidation of allocation of resources by itself will take care of a lot of things.
Mr. Shah, let me come to you. The other question that a lot of investors have been watchful for is debt. Where do you think Tata, if you had Chandra in front of you today, what would be the 2-3 companies that you think you would be watchful for? Would it be Tata Steel with the debt issue? Would it be Tata Motors from a turnaround perspective?
I think, as I said, the key issues that Chandra will be focused on will be growth and efficiency. And there is obviously a trade-off involved in this, because if you try to drive efficiency a lot, you might end up compromising growth, and very often if you go after growth, you will end up compromising on efficiency. So the balancing of this is going to be very, very important. And I think for this, the 3 most important companies in the Tata Group continue to be TCS, Tata Motors and Tata Steel. And I think these 3 companies anyway accounts for, I think, about 2/3 of the group, resources, manpower, capital, whatever you have it. And all 3 have, different challenges, different opportunities. But I think the key is going to be efficiency. And if I've seen Chandra in TCS and all, his entire mantra has been growth with efficiency. He's never said only growth, nor has he said only efficiency. And if you see his track record in the last 10 years that he's been CEO out there, it has been that is what he has achieved, as compared to a lot of other IT companies which have struggled and have had to, a flip-flop between growth sometimes and efficiency sometimes. Chandra has done a stellar job at balancing this inherent trade-off very well. I think it's the same extension of that, which is what he'll do for the Tata Group. And I think we will see some interesting, and what he announced recently about the clustering and integration of smaller companies and all, a lot of that is not just to drive efficiency, but also to create platforms from which growth can come a lot faster.
Okay, so if you had to see it from a purely investor point of view, Mr. Shah, what would be, from an earnings perspective, what really would be the driving factors? Would it be TCS and Tata Motors alone? Because Tata Steel, of course, is right now on the path of turnaround. From a purely earnings perspective.
All 3 of them, and, and obviously it's all 3 of them, and there are other interesting companies they have. They have companies like Tata Chemicals, they have companies like Tata Global Beverages. Titan is a very interesting company from an investor's point of view. So I think from investors' point of view, there are 8 or 9 companies the investors are going to watch very carefully, and each one of them have their own opportunities and challenges. But I think even steel has a lot of opportunity. The industry is coming back. Tatas have, gone through a fair amount of, understanding of, where the opportunity lies, how to restructure, how to create more efficiency. So I think these 3 companies for sure, TCS, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, and I would say Titan, Tata Global Beverages and Tata Chemicals. All these are the interesting ones. I think the other outlier in this is Tata Power, which is also to be watched, because with what they want to do in renewable. So these are, I think, about 7-8 companies in the group will capture 100% of the investor attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah, for joining in, and Mr. Mehta also for joining in the conversation. With that, we are out of time on this special edition. Thank you so much for watching.